welcome to this video. Today's subject, which is kind of a light-hearted subject really, about psychology and the fact that really psychology, or the methods of psychology, the techniques of psychology, the fundamentals of psychology are pretty much everywhere. You know, our own thinking and our processes and our habits and our behaviour is all related to psychology. So, in effect, every human being is practicing some form of psychology. Of course, the thing what comes into this is how it's being used. Now, if we look at what we are bombarded with, we're bombarded with social media, we're bombarded with adverts, we're bombarded with, news broadcasts, where if you're a television watcher, you're constantly being bombarded by, manipulated psychology to make you buy things, to make you feel like you're inadequate, to make you feel like, you're ill, that you can't possibly be X, Y, and Z because, you haven't got this, or you're not taking these tablets, or, you're not living in this type of house, or you're not driving this type of car. So, how can your life be good if you're not driving a certain type of vehicle? And it's all very clever. It's all manipulation. How you communicate with people, you're using psychology to get what you want, to find out information, to communicate with people, to befriend people, to understand someone. All of this are psychology techniques that we use every single day. And I've always found it quite fascinating when, people say to me, what do I do? And I do a lot of things, but one of the things that, I enjoy is using psychology, is helping people with methods of psychology. And they go, oh, wow, that's really interesting, that's pretty deep. And then I say to them, well, you're already familiar with psychology. Everyone is. And then I go to explain exactly what I just said. And then people begin to realise that actually all a psychological therapist is somebody who's got a more compact and defined toolkit and understands how each of the tools work and how to use them in a way to help others. That's effectively what a psychologist is. And then you get the psychologists that are general. So you've got somebody that has a toolbox that covers all bases, or a lot of bases. So they may have tools to do various different things. And then you've got the psychologists who specialise in one form of psychology, or they may only have the tools available to help people with a form of psychology, like for instance behavioural psychology, or abnormal psychology, or that kind of relationship psychology, or do you know what I mean? So those type of psychologists would be absolutely 100% or 110% familiar with the tools required to help other people in that particular form, or that avenue, that niche of psychology. And that's really, in a nutshell, how all these various therapists work. It's excuse me, most people would be able to understand how plumbing works. If you've you've got a hole in your pipe, or you kind of understand that water is heated up in your house and is pumped through pipes, and radiators are just a means of radiating the heat from the heated water, and it goes into a cycle system. Now, if you get a leak, then most people would understand that you've got to turn a tap off. If you, and then you've got to call someone who's specialised in, fixing leaks, or if a radiator doesn't work or a boiler doesn't work, you've got to call a different type of, plumber or specialist. And so that's really the same, you could apply that to pretty much everything, to a car. People in general have a good understanding of how something would work, or how it's supposed to work, but when it goes wrong, they may not really understand how to fix it. And really, that's all a psychologist does, is a psychologist just knows what tools are available within everybody, and how they can encourage people to use them to fix whatever needs to be fixed, according to that person. So that's the kind of the simplest way I could say or explain what a psychologist is, and how psychology works. Think of it as a bit like a car or plumbing. When it needs, a general psychologist will have a whole range of tools and will know how to use them. But if they come across something that they don't really specifically understand, or the tools that they have available to them require a specialist, then they refer them to someone else, just much like a general practitioner or a doctor would do. A doctor would have a general knowledge of a whole range of things, but wouldn't know the special knowledge required and experience required for something specific, like a disease or an ailment, or an organ failure, or something along those lines. And so they would refer them to a specialist that would be able to help out and identify and know what the symptoms would be and how to rectify them, and such like. So think of psychology like that, and it takes away the whole, what I call the woo-woo factor, or the black box factor, and the mysticism behind what psychology really is. I find that sometimes people view psychology as some sort of black art. When I explain to them that they are already practicing psychology themselves, it then doesn't become such a mysterious thing, and it becomes something that people would learn to understand. A bit like having how a car explained by a mechanic how it works to somebody who knows nothing about cars, but would just be given some knowledge and some tools to help them understand how a car would work. It's a similar thing. Anyway, that's a short snippet of a discussion. Always encourage everyone to come to our Facebook, Indigo Insight, and share your experiences, share your questions, whatever it is on there. That'd be great. I look forward to hearing from you.